to your Church Without Walls, and wherever you may be, it is good to be with you once again. Thank you for the messages we get each week, and we love to hear from you and value them all. It was wonderful to hear from Helen in Tasmania, and we send our greetings back to you. Our speaker for this week is Revd Hugh Wright, and we thank him for his talk. Now please join in our first song, Great is Thy Faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Bible reading is taken from Mark's Gospel, chapters 4, verses 35 to 41. Jesus had been teaching all day beside the Sea of Galilee. When the evening came, Jesus said to them, "Let us go across to the other side." And leaving a crowd behind, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was. Other boats were with them. A great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat, so that the boat was being swamped. Jesus was in the stern, asleep on a cushion, and they woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" He woke up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." Then the wind ceased and there was a dead calm. He said to them, "Why are you afraid? Have you still no faith?" And they were filled with a great awe and said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?"
enjoying the beautiful weather we've had in the last week. Living by the sea, it might be assumed that I use every opportunity to jump into the waves, but it ain't necessarily so. It has to be very hot to lure me into the sea, and that is probably the time I have to be most careful. Because of an incident that took place on my birthday, spent on holiday in the small town of Roquebrune-sur-Aube, southern France, almost exactly 6 years ago. Being a great deal hotter than recently, I was drawn to a disused watermill where the water was beautifully cold and still, enabling me to drift slowly to a small waterfall and down into the River Aube. Cuts and bruises, but nothing worse. Ever since then I've been properly afraid of water. That gives me something in common with the ancient Jews. Fear of water is found throughout the Old Testament. Think of Noah's flood, with God's power made manifest at creation, when he separated the waters and made the dry land appear. Both are found in the majestic words of Psalm 107, much beloved of seafarers. Some went down to the sea in ships. They saw his wonders in the deep. They beheld the works of the Lord. For he spoke, and a stormy wind arose, which tossed high the waves of the sea. They mounted up to the heavens, and fell back to the depths. Their hearts melted because of their peril. Then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them from their distress. He stilled the storm to a whisper, and quieted the waves of the sea. This may have been in the minds of the disciples on the Sea of Galilee, as a storm suddenly blew up while they were on their way with Jesus to the other side. Petrified is probably the best way of describing them. Like me in France, they were not on the open sea, but on inland water, not far from shore. But, as we're told, you can drown in as little as a few feet of water. Yes, they were petrified, but not Jesus. He seems to have remained perfectly and exasperatingly calm in the corner of the boat as it threatened to capsize. As the disciples frantically shouted at him, "Do you not care?" he woke up, got up, said to the wind and waves, "Peace, be still." Then, it says, the wind ceased and there was a perfect calm. Throughout the coronavirus crisis, the talk has been of waves. First wave, second wave. Is there now a third? This is a vicious virus that doesn't know how to lie down, just as minds are set on and plans made for a summer of openness. Yet our situation is much better than in most parts of the world, for which we have many people to thank, some of whom were recognised in the Queen's birthday honours. Another wave may be swamping our boat, but just like the Sea of Galilee, we are not far from shore, thanks to the ingenuity of scientists and the dedication of healthcare workers and volunteers. So, as we hear the news about this and other subjects and feel our hearts sink like that boat, as our hearts sink also on behalf of those who will be affected by this latest wave, as we fear that we and they are beginning to drown, may we hear the words of our Lord, "Peace, be still," and may we take heart. Amen.
As we come to you, calm us. There are so many storms in life, some coming upon us suddenly, others gradually increasing in severity, and still others, like these COVID times, seemingly endless. Some are results of our own foolish choices, others simply part of our human condition. We lay our foolish choices before you, asking for forgiveness. May we learn to pass that forgiveness on to others. reflecting your mercy in our lives. Lord, as we come to you, still us. May we feel your presence with us. Some of us are agitated and anxious about our jobs, our family, our health, our state of mind, world situations such as that in the Middle East, the survival of our planet. Help us to place our trust in you and to do all we can to help others with their anxieties and problems. Lord, as we come to you, enfold us in your peace. May that peace within free us to praise you for your wonderful world, the beauty of flowers, butterflies, music, one another. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever.
It is a real privilege that you have joined with us this week. Thank you. And we wish you a safe and peaceful week ahead and we look forward to being with you next week.